I gave my sister $12,000 for her dream bakery. She promised I'd be a partner. When I visited on opening day, there was a plaque that read funded by our angel investor, Mom. My name was nowhere. She said, "You're just not the vibe we're going for." When I brought it up to our parents, my dad said, "Maybe next time don't expect so much in return." A week later, I walked by and saw my recipes on the menu. I'm writing this because I don't know where else to put all this anger. All this betrayal. I trusted someone who I thought would never screw me over, my own sister. I thought family meant something. I was wrong. My name's Ray. I'm 34, single, and I live in Asheville, North Carolina. I've always been the quiet one in the family. I don't fight for the spotlight. I just do what I love, and what I love is baking. It started when I was a kid. I'd stay up past midnight trying to perfect banana bread while Jenna, my older sister by 2 years, was sneaking out to parties. I was the one with flour in her hair. She was the one getting her name announced at every school assembly. That dynamic never changed. She got into insurance. I got into culinary school, then worked for years in restaurant kitchens until I saved enough to maybe one day start my own place. But I never resented her. She was my sister. That's supposed to mean something. 2 years ago, everything changed. "I want to build something with you." Jenna showed up at my apartment one night. She'd just broken up with her boyfriend, hated her job, and said she was thinking about starting over. "I want to open a bakery," she said, out of nowhere. "Something special. Local, homey. You know, something people remember." I was shocked. She'd never shown any interest in baking before. I asked her why now. She said she was tired of feeling empty. That she wanted to build something real and soulful. Then she looked at me and said, "I want to build it with you." She called me her inspiration. Said she'd watched me bake since we were kids and always admired how I stuck to what I loved. She told me I had something special. It felt real. I let my guard down. She said she'd found a small storefront just outside downtown Asheville. Rent was doable. The space had a working kitchen. She even showed me mood boards on Pinterest and color palettes. I told her I had $12,000 saved. It was my dream fund. Meant for my own food business. She asked if I wanted to go in on this together. Equal partners. She'd handle the branding and marketing, I'd be in charge of the baking. I hesitated. I didn't want to mix family and business. But she looked me in the eye and said, "You'll be my co-owner. We'll do this as sisters." So I wired her the money. No contract. Just trust. From that point on, the updates were always vague. "The designer says it's gonna be amazing." Or "We're working on branding. You'll love the surprise." Sometimes she didn't reply to texts for weeks. I started asking for clarity. "Can we get something in writing? Maybe an agreement about ownership?" She got defensive. Said she felt like I didn't trust her. That she was already stressed and didn't need legal drama. I let it go. I didn't want to cause a fight. I figured we were family. We'd sort it out. She didn't invite me to the soft opening. Said it was just 4 test audiences and some local influencers. Fine. Then came the grand opening. I showed up with a hand-stitched apron, flowers, and hope in my chest. When I walked in, I felt like I didn't belong. The place was beautiful. I'll give her that. Pastel tones, open shelves, plants everywhere. Everything was curated for Instagram. I looked around for something with my name on it. A thank you. A mention. Anything. What I found was a wooden sign by the counter. It said, "Funded by our angel investor, Mom." I stood there like a ghost. My hands were shaking. I asked a barista if there were any brochures or flyers about the business. She handed me one with a huge photo of Jenna and my mom, painting the walls. Not a single word about me. I found Jenna in the back kitchen. I was still holding the apron. My voice cracked. Where's my name? I thought this was our bakery. She didn't even look surprised. She just took a sip of her cold brew and said, yeah, we ended up pivoting a little. I brought Mom on to help with the finances. It's more of a family brand now. I asked what that made me. She smiled. Your family too. You helped in the beginning, and I'll always love you for that. But you're not really the vibe we're going for. I stared at her. The vibe? You're too traditional. This place is about moving forward, about community, and storytelling. Not just pastries. I left. I didn't cry in front of her. But I felt like I'd been gutted. I went to our parents' house that night. I told them everything. Mom just said, Jenna said you gave it as a gift. Dad said, well, maybe next time, don't expect so much in return. I asked, you knew I gave her the money? Mom nodded. She said you wanted to support her. Like a silent partner. I didn't know what to say. I felt invisible. A week later, I walked by the bakery. I told myself not to go in. Just peek, then leave. That's when I saw the menu board. She'd renamed them, but I recognized my recipes. I could tell by the ingredients, the descriptions, the flavor combinations. No one else makes sweet potato chai donuts the way I do. No one pairs rosemary and orange zest the way I do. She took my work. Rebranded it. Sold it like it was hers. That's when something inside me snapped. After I saw my recipes on that board, I walked straight home and pulled out my old recipe notebook, the same one she used to flip through when we were kids. I had everything written down. Dates, changes, test batches. Pictures. Notes in the margins. I knew I had to play this smart. I couldn't just scream at her or post online and look like the jealous sister. I needed to hit her where it hurt. I started small. There's a local food blog in Asheville that reviews new spots around town. I'd written for them once, back when I was doing pop-up pastry sales on weekends. I sent the editor an email. I didn't attack Jenna. I told them I had developed a set of original recipes years ago, and recently discovered they were being used by a business that never credited me. I attached photos, timestamps, baking logs, and side-by-side comparisons of my original muffins next to her new ones. The editor replied 2 days later. Would you be open to an interview? Hell yes. The article came out that Friday. The headline wasn't brutal, but it was clear. Pastry chef alleges recipes were taken by popular new bakery. They didn't name Jenna directly, but anyone local figured it out fast. I didn't care if it caused her trouble. She started it. All I wanted was the truth out in the open. I went back to my roots. I rented a small booth space at a weekend market outside the city. It was all I could afford, but it was something. First week, I sold out in 2 hours. People came up to me saying, aren't you the one from the article? Or didn't that new bakery steal your donut recipe? I just smiled and said, I'm the one who made it first. Every Saturday after that, I had a line. The local paper came by. Then a few food TikTokers. Word spread fast. And here's the part that really hurt Jenna, I wasn't even trying to beat her. I just did my own thing. But the more attention I got, the more it pulled people away from her place. I didn't need to sabotage her. She did it all on her own. One of the interns she hired to manage her social media reached out to me. Said he was quitting because Jenna was a nightmare. He told me she was getting desperate, trying to rebrand every other week, changing menu items, lashing out at staff. Then came the health inspection. She failed. Twice. Someone posted the report online. Mold in the walk-in fridge. Uncovered food. One of my old recipes was listed in the inspection log as being made without a food-safe thermometer. I saved that screenshot. She tried to blame the staff. Said she was too busy to oversee everything. Reviews on Yelp turned nasty. Words like overrated, rude owner, and we miss the original flavors kept popping up. Guess who they meant by original? She called me twice after that. Once at night, and once early in the morning. I let it ring both times. She sent a text. "Can we talk?" I didn't reply. Then another. "You're really going to do this to your own sister?" Yeah. I was. Because she did it to me first. I was feeling good. Maybe even too good. Orders were coming in faster than I could bake. A small business investor approached me at the market and offered to help me open a real storefront. People were saying things like, "We're rooting for you, and you deserve this." For the first time in years, I didn't feel invisible. But then came the twist I didn't see coming. My dad showed up at my booth. It was a quiet Sunday. I had just set up and was pouring coffee for a regular when I saw him walking across the lot. He was wearing a ball cap and sunglasses like that would make him less noticeable. Behind him, Jenna. I froze. I hadn't seen either of them since the day I confronted our parents. Now they were walking straight toward me like nothing had happened. I kept it together. I looked my dad in the eye and said, "You need something?" He looked different. Not smug. Not dismissive. Just tired. Jenna didn't speak. She stood behind him, arms crossed. "I told her this was a bad idea," he said, without any hello. But she wanted to talk. Jenna stepped forward. "I messed up," she said. Her voice was quiet, and her eyes looked puffy, like she hadn't slept. "I didn't mean for it to get this bad." I didn't say a word. I let her keep talking. "I thought I could handle it alone. I thought you didn't really want to be involved long term. I didn't think you'd fight back like this." That last part hit me hard. I didn't think you'd fight back. Like that was the surprise, not the betrayal, not the lies. She thought I'd stay quiet. Like I always did. I finally spoke. "You took my money, lied to me, stole my recipes, and erased me. And you didn't think I'd fight back?" She didn't answer. Then came the real twist. She said she wanted to make things right. "I'll pay you back," she said. "The whole 12,000. I just need time." I asked her, "And what do you want from me?" She didn't blink. "Take your name off everything. The blog posts, the social media callouts. Stop doing interviews. Stop dragging me through this." I laughed. I actually laughed. "You want me to disappear again?" She said, "No, I just want to move on." I looked her dead in the eye and said, "You don't get to choose that." Then I turned to my dad. "You were quiet when she lied. Quiet when she took my money. Quiet when she told me I wasn't the vibe. Are you still quiet now?" He opened his mouth but didn't say anything. Then he turned and walked away. Jenna followed. A week later, I got a letter in the mail. No return address, but I knew the handwriting. Inside was a check, for $12,000, and a sticky note that said, "Now we're even." I stared at it for a long time. Even? We weren't even. We'd never be even. Money didn't fix what she broke. But I cashed the check. And then I did something else. After I cashed that check, I sat alone in my apartment and thought about everything. The lies. The silence. The years I spent thinking Jenna was just flawed or confused, when really, she knew exactly what she was doing. And me? I wasn't innocent either. I let it happen. I gave her trust one should have protected. I thought family meant fairness. I thought being the quiet one meant I'd be safe. I was wrong. So I made my final move. 3 months later, I opened my own bakery. A real one. Small, warm, everything handmade. It was on the east side of Asheville, near the same market where I started again. I called it Bitter and Sweet. The name was perfect. People showed up in droves. Friends, customers from the market, even that food blogger who started it all. My story had become something bigger than revenge. It was about rebuilding, honesty, and yeah, getting what you're owed. On the counter, I put a framed photo of my original recipe notebook. And next to it? A plaque. Funded by my hard work. And by people who thought I'd stay silent. No names. But everyone knew. A month after I opened, Jenna showed up outside my store. I saw her from the front window. She didn't come in. Just stood there for a few minutes, then walked away. The next day, I got a message from a mutual friend. Jenna was talking trash again. Saying I stole the spotlight, made her look bad, ruined her brand. I thought about responding. I really did. But then her bakery closed. 2 months after mine opened, she shut her doors temporarily. But it never reopened. She lost it all. Staff, investors, reputation. Her dream, built on lies, crumbled. Me? I don't pretend I'm some hero. I got my revenge. I did it slowly, publicly, and without apology. But I also learned who I was underneath it all. Someone who could fight back. Someone who wouldn't disappear again. And maybe that's the part that hurt her the most. Because in the end, I didn't just beat her. I became everything she pretended to be.